Hello everybody, this is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard. Alright, so the title speaks for itself. December 2021. What is going to be happening is that there's going to be a bunch of astrological stuff going on, but one thing in particular which is going to be of great interest is going to be when Ketu, Mars, and Sun conjunct in Scorpio. And this is going to happen in December of 2021. And so we need to talk about what all that means. But before we do any of that, please be aware that these links are here for a reason. So the first thing I recommend you do is go to thunderwizard.com, scroll around until you see the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, and subscribe. And if you want to get a hand on the most powerful energy, in my experience, which destroys negativity, you can go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com. But there's plenty of stuff on the free channel. And also, when I'm done with this, I'm going to upload another video to my other platform, which is odyssey.com. So go and subscribe there, because I'm going to be telling you other things that you're going to need in order to survive this purging that is coming. And of course, when you go to odyssey.com, look for Thunder Wizard, DOTCOM. Okay? So go and subscribe there. Like I said, when I'm done here, I'm going to go and upload some absolutely essential information that you're going to need. So, but today on this video, we're just going to be talking about what does this mean. So, whether or not this is the final awakening or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that there is a level of deception that is over the world that it's unfathomable. What is happening in terms of the amount of deception over the human population in the world it's more bizarre than any dystopian sci-fi movie that you could watch. And what we're doing right now is we're living in an upside down world. So what people think is going on is actually the exact opposite is happening. And we do have a core of elites, and let me be clear on what I mean by that. The elites are simply extremely wealthy individuals. And these people all know each other, and they get together and they communicate. And they have decided that the world is too populated, and they have decided to get rid of the vast majority of the population so that they can manage and control the whole world. What is happening is that there is a conspiracy. By the way, on that other channel, the word conspiracy is a perfectly good word. There is a conspiracy, and a conspiracy is when people get together and decide they're going to do something to an individual or to another group of people. They conspire to do something. A conspiracy theory is just somebody who is theorizing what that conspiracy might be. There's nothing wrong with those words. A conspiracy theory isn't proof, but just because it's a theory doesn't mean it's not true either. So I am sharing with you that there is a conspiracy at the highest levels with the most wealthy individuals in the world, and their desire is to, as I said, reduce the population of the planet so that they can manage it. They plan on destroying individual nations. They will allow people to keep their own national identity. But really what those nations will be, for instance, the United States, if they get their way, the elites get their way, the United States will no longer be an independent country. It will still have its own borders. It can still have its own government and laws, etc., but it will be a subsidiary of a larger conglomerate of corporations. And these corporations are, in fact, making public policy. At this moment in time, it's not coming, they've already accomplished it. At this moment in time, this conglomerate of corporations, which I can't talk about because YouTube is part of them. I can't talk about who they are on YouTube, but this conglomerate of corporations is actually through supposed independent entities and agencies is making public policy and law for other countries. They simply make a suggestion and other governments of independent nations are listening to them and putting those suggestions into law. That has never happened in the history of the human race to this degree. It has never happened. And the goal is, as they continue to do this, it will erode the independence of nations, especially the United States. It will erode the independence and the power of the United States. It will seek to annihilate individualism and capitalism. Capitalism is a direct threat to this. And what it will seek to do is to create what's called stakeholder economy. You can go look this up. I'm not making this part up. This actually exists. Stakeholder economy. This is what is being espoused by the World Economic Forum, which is founded and run by the richest people in the world. So what stakeholder economy means is that it starts with an assumption. And the assumption is, and the thing about it is that they just introduce what they talk about without even acknowledging their assumption, which shows tremendous narcissism, sociopathic narcissism. So these people, either individually or as a unified entity, are acting exactly like a sociopathic narcissist, which means that, so understand that a narcissist is actually incapable. It's not that they choose to be evil. So I want you to get that out of your mind. It's worse than that. It's one thing if somebody chooses to be evil and they say, I'm going to do evil things to people. That's bad. But what's worse is when somebody is a sociopathic narcissist, and because they actually lack the ability to have any empathy with other people, everything that they do, even if their intention is, I want to save the world. You know, Hitler, by the way, Hitler thought he was saving the world. He was a sociopathic narcissist. Stalin thought he was saving the world. Mao thought he was saving the world. Nero. Others. These people think they're saving the world. That's worse because they don't see you as an individual. They can't relate to you. They don't have any empathy, or, you know, empathy means that you're able to climb inside somebody else's skin and imagine what it must feel like for them. That's empathy. They don't have that, not because they're necessarily evil, although they might be. But a sociopathic narcissist doesn't necessarily mean they're evil. It means that they don't have the ability. It's just like, you know, I mean, if I see an ant crawling around, it's very easy for me to just smash it while I'm thinking about how much I love nature, right? Human beings, we eat animals, we get rid of insects, we do all kinds of stuff without any empathy. And I'm not judging that, it's just a fact. So these people are like that. When it comes to the rest of the world, they don't have any empathy for them. They can't relate to them. So their goal is to save the world, create a utopia for themselves primarily, but they also believe that they're doing you a big favor. And this is what stakeholder economy is. Stakeholder economy is presented as a way for everybody to have a stake in the economy. And what they don't share with you is the assumption, which is that, oh, by the way, the world is going to be one giant corporation. Everything is about producing and creating, goods and services, and you're the engine to do that. Human beings are the labor to do that. So we are going to, since that's the fact of the matter, the world is a corporation. That's just what it is. Right? That's what it is. Because that's a fact, what we're going to do is we are going to invite you to have a stake in that. Which means that they think they're doing you a favor by giving you a stake in the corporation. Hey, we'll make you a stakeholder. You'll have your own little piece of it, and you'll have a say in what goes on, and you'll have power, and this is your corporation. Your world. This is your world. And so if you go onto the World Economic Forum, you'll see messages on different videos where they say things like, everybody plays their part. And it will be an appeal to your desire to have esprit de corps, to be cooperative and to help your fellow man and to help the world. And your job, if you listen to it, your job is to help the world and to help the collective. That's your job. You don't understand that? Everybody has a part to play. It's a bastardization and a distortion of Kennedy's famous line where he says, "Seek not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." Now, he was talking about country in the terms of, an independent nation of an independent. What is the word that I was just using? Individualism. That together we're more powerful to help each other be more powerful individuals. Capitalism. He was talking about a capitalist country, and see what you can do to help everybody be their best. But that's not what the elites are saying when they say everybody plays a part. You have a part in this. What they're doing, number one, is they're assuming, this is the narcissism, they assume that you don't have any goals or any dreams of your own. You're not capable of that. You're just a peon. You're just one of the hoi polloi. You're just one of the masses. You're not capable of that. They assume that you have this directionless, hopeless emptiness inside of you, and that you are seeking for some kind of purpose. And so they say, hey, you have a purpose in life. Come and be a part of this. Have a stake in this giant corporation, and then play your part. And when you play your part and everybody plays their part, then the world is a happier place. And what they don't realize is that you have your own desires, you have your own dreams, you have your own ambition, and that you have and deserve to be everything that you want. That your life is about your expression of your soul and your happiness. And how you give to the collective is by being the best individual you can be, and by achieving your dreams. When you achieve your dreams, other people are empowered to achieve their dreams, and your dreams always have, as a result of that, an empowerment and helping others to be free and happy and prosperous. But there's nobody controlling that. There's no governing body controlling that. And so this is the counterfeit. So what's happening now is that the counterfeit reality that has been, not has been, but is being hypnotized into the population in a very real way. You know, in the past when I would talk about this, I really meant it on a psychological, spiritual level. I did not realize that it's an actual physical thing, that every time that you click on your television, every time that you know, I got a text on my phone, I won't tell you, from the government here, telling me to go do something that I have no intention of doing. But they have, you know, they're tracking me on here, they're tracking me on here. You know, everything that I search for on YouTube is somebody's watching that. It's all being tabulated, you know, and they know exactly where I go online and what I do. Here in Australia, which, by the way, this, if they get their way, this will come to all nations. But here in Australia, they are ahead of the curve when it comes to this. And I have this. Check in Queensland. And I'm required to go whenever I go anywhere. If I go to a shopping center, if I go into a restaurant, if I go into a store, anywhere that I go, I am required to take my phone and check in so that they know every single place that I've been. And this is where it's headed. Every aspect of your life will be categorized and controlled because you will be the perpetual consumer. You will be the perpetual customer. And you will have a stake in everything that you're buying. You'll be told you'll be given a stake in that. So what is coming in December is that Mars and Ketu and Sun are going to conjunct in the sign of Scorpio. So we need to break that down. So the Sun is your soul. That's what in fact, the word sun in the English language, the word soul, S-O-U-L, comes from Sawul. Sawul had a dual meaning. It meant both soul and sun. Also, the word soul. We already know that soul is sun. So the sun represents the soul of the human being. This is going into the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is the water sign of Mars that represents going deep into the unconscious. So the soul is going to be operating, and there's an opportunity for you to be aware on the deepest level of your soul what is going on in the unconscious mind. Combining that will be Mars. So Mars is the god of war. Mars represents energy. It also represents destruction of negativity. It represents action. And so when Mars goes into Scorpio, Mars becomes a warrior with a blade. Mars becomes a surgeon. Mars becomes something that goes deep into the unconscious. And Mars becomes very vindictive because the sign of Scorpio, scorpions have little pinchers that they grab onto, and they also have a stinger. So the great thing about dating a Scorpio is that on your first date with a Scorpio, they're going to want to grab you with their pinchers, which means they're going to want to take you home and have sex with you. They want their way of experiencing you on the deepest possible unconscious level, which is true. The way that you can experience somebody on the deepest unconscious level is through sex. And so they're going to want to grab hold of you and experience you, and if you reject them, they will be furious with you. They will sting you. At some point, you will disappoint them, because everybody disappoints everybody. And so at some point, the Scorpio person will come to the realization that you aren't capable of completely merging with them on the unconscious level because you're an individual. And when you disappoint them or when they feel rejected, they're going to sting you. So when you bring Mars in there, you bring a very vindictive warrior who seeks to go into the deepest waters of emotional unconscious awareness. Then you bring in Ketu. So the thing about Rahu and Ketu, which is the north and the south node of the moon, is that these are not actual planets. They are mathematical points. And these are the points where you have eclipses, which I believe no, I don't know about that. So we have eclipses. So what happens when Rahu and Ketu get between the Earth and the Sun, or the Earth and the Moon, you have an eclipse. The Moon is the mind. So when one of these planets gets between the Earth and the Moon, your mind, you lose access to your mind, not your intellect, but your mind, your ability to intuit, your ability to operate emotionally, the ability to understand and process information through your emotions, that becomes clouded. When Rahu and Ketu get between the Earth and the Sun, then your ability to operate from the soul, from your spiritual center, becomes clouded. So these planets, Rahu and Ketu, they are magnifiers. So they expand whatever it is that they're connected to. Rahu, when Rahu connects or conjuncts with a planet, he expands your delusions. He expands your desire to experience three-dimensional life. Your addictions, your delusions, your obsessions, these become magnified with whatever planet is there. What Ketu does is he does the opposite. Ketu expands the meaninglessness of three-dimensional reality. So he is technically the god of death. And he brings death, because physical death means connection to spirituality. So when Ketu shows up, he says, this life is an illusion. I'm going to take you out of it. If he, for instance, if he becomes conjunct with Venus, you'll never be able to find love. They'll say love is an illusion. You are a soul and you are connected to infinity. Trying to connect to another person and get pleasure from that is a waste of time. So if he's connected to Venus, I've seen people, at least in one instance, there was one person who had, this isn't true for everybody, so don't think I'm talking about you. I'm not mentioning who I'm talking about. But under the right conditions, when Ketu and Venus comes together, you have someone who has borderline personality disorder. That they're actually incapable of any kind of romantic intimacy. When the intimacy comes, they destroy it. So attachment disorders. If it's connected to the moon, Ketu connected to the moon can turn somebody into a shaman, meaning that their mind, their emotional and energy body is able to to go beyond the physical, and they can channel gods and spirits and entities, but it can also make them insane, because your mind is a necessary thing that you need to function in three-dimensional life. So Ketu seeks to destroy any connection to any delusion, illusion, falsity. Did I just make up a word? So when Mars and Ketu come together, you end up with an avenging angel who seeks to come out of the sky with their saber in their hand and destroy the corrupt evildoers. So corrupt evildoers are always seeking to take advantage of other people for their own three-dimensional physical empowerment, which is exactly what this corporation reality is all about. Everything that and I'm not kidding about this, literally every single news story that comes out on the media is designed to deceive you into believing that you are a stakeholder in the economy and that you have a say, that you have this government behind you, that you have rights. But every single thing that comes out of them, especially anything official, is a lie. It's a lie designed to keep you as a consumer and a customer. And what's happening now is that every single person on the planet is being told to consume a certain product, which I'm not allowed to talk about. Every single person on the planet has been told that that you need to go and purchase this product. Now, the lie is that it's free. We want to give you this product and we want you to consume it, but we are giving it to you. In fact, we are legislating that you have to. You have to consume this product we are giving you. And you know, I've talked with people who are smart. They're educated, college-educated, smart people. And when I tell them about the billions of dollars that is being made on your consumption of this free product, they say, "What do you mean? There's who's making money off of it? It's free." I said, "Your tax dollars. You pay taxes to your government. Your government is purchasing this product and distributing it to the whole world. And in fact, is legislating that you consume it." And they've made, in the past year, they've made $15 billion off of your taxes. In fact, your taxes are paying for other countries who can't afford to purchase this product, whose governments do not have the money to purchase this product. Your taxes are paying for those people to be given this product for free. So not only have you paid to consume this product, but you are paying for other people's consumption of that product. And this is the collective corporation that is overtaking the world. And every time somebody consumes this product, the conglomeration, the reptilian horde, if you go onto my other channel, you'll know what that means. The reptilian horde makes money every single time somebody anywhere in the world consumes this product, even though they didn't have to pay for it. So what's going to happen? Ketu and Mars are going to create the ultimate avenging angel warrior. This will be the Archangel Michael, who comes down out of heaven with his sword and he destroys all of the army of demons. The demons that are seeking to destroy you are doing it through trying to deceive you about the nature of your reality. They are using fear. In fact, on my, I can't talk about it here, but there are things that you're being told that you have to do. And the reasoning behind it is absolutely, totally ludicrous. but it's so irrational that they can use this reasoning in order to convince you to consume this product. But if you weren't full of fear and somebody were to say, oh, you have to protect yourself by doing the opposite of what makes sense, you would go, wait, so I have to do the opposite of what makes sense? Yes, you have to do the opposite of what makes sense. If you weren't afraid, you would go, no, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. But when you're full of fear, they come to you and they say, in order to protect yourself, you have to do the opposite of what makes sense. You have to do the opposite of what protects you. That's how you protect yourself. You go, the opposite, and that will save me from the thing that's going to destroy me? Yes, you do the opposite, and then you do it. So this whole thing is driven by fear. That's why I've been wrong for the right reasons in the past about certain things, but I was right and have always been right about one thing, which is you should never make any decisions based out of fear, ever. You should never take any actions based out of fear. And in fact, that was what woke me up, is that I was considering consuming this product that is freely given and is being forced on us. I was thinking about it, and when I realized that my reasons for doing it would be 100% out of fear, then I started looking at the inconsistencies. And by the way, nobody was doing this for me. I wasn't reading any, watching any videos. I wasn't clicking on any links. I wasn't, it was just like, let me take a look at that, because that doesn't sound right. And just by picking a little bit at it, the wallpaper starts to peel back and you see, oh my God, this whole thing is a house of cards. There's nothing to it. It's complete, total lies. You're being lied to continuously. You're being isolated so that you cannot, I have to censor myself so that I don't get deplatformed on YouTube. You're not allowed to go onto Facebook and share your honest thoughts and feelings about anything, unless it's, look what I had for dinner, and hey, I got a new puppy, and we went on vacation to Yosemite, even though the trees are burning in the background. As long as you talk about that, you're fine. But if you try and actually connect with other people and tell them your honest opinions about things that you're being told to do, you will be silenced. Your post will be removed. You might even have your entire platform taken down. There are scientists and doctors who are highly qualified who are being deplatformed on any social media. They're not being allowed a voice they're not being sought after by CNN or MSNBC or BBC or Reuters or anybody else. Hey, can you tell us your thoughts on this scientific thing? There's no opinions, there's no discussion, there's no transparency on any level. So what's going to happen is that's going to be ripped open, because Ketu says, I am here to destroy the lies. Now, all three-dimensional reality is a lie at some level. If you go deep enough, you find out everything is an illusion. The only thing that truly exists is the spirit, which is beyond the three dimensions. So when people die, when people are dying, the angel of death comes to them, which is Ketu. The angel of death comes to them, and depending on how attached they are, if you are attached to your life and to the delusions of physical reality, then Ketu is a frightening demon that comes to you. He's a skeleton, and he's the Grim Reaper, and it's frightening to you. But if you have released and if you've had an enjoyable life, for one thing, and lived your soul desire and enjoyed and appreciated this video game and gotten everything out of it, then you'll be ready to leave. And then reality, the veil between this reality and the next starts to fade. And when Ketu comes to you, he won't look to you as a frightening skeleton demon. He will be a being of light. Which, by the way, every single person listening to me, when you hear "don't follow the light" and that beings of light are trying to deceive you, that is actually your desire to stay in three-dimensional reality. Even though you say, "I want to escape this matrix," and beings of light are trying to deceive me, that's actually the opposite. That's your fear of your own soul. Because your own soul is 100% pure, the purest light that exists. The light at the end of the tunnel is your own soul. And if you shy away from that, you will be brought back down into three-dimensional reality, and it'll be worse than the time before. So when you are not attached to this physical reality, Ketu will come to you as a being of light. Because Ketu on this side is a demon of destruction. But if you're on the spirit side, on the spirit side of the mirror, you see that Ketu is actually wanting to liberate you. He wants to bring you into true reality. And anybody who's had any real experience, any real out-of-body or near-death experience, you know that that experience is more real than this one. Everything is more real on the other side. So in December, the soul, the warrior, which is Mars, and the bringer of truth, the god of death, which is Ketu, they are all going to conjoin to destroy reality as it has been presented to you. The reality you've been given is a lie. Even the deception that is happening, which is still in place right now, it's very tenuous. And this is why there's so much dissension. Now, the other thing that can come with this is, because, by the way, the Thunder Wizard is a man of peace. I have taken a vow of nonviolence. So I can never, under any circumstances, participate or condone or encourage violence of any kind. But when you have this this conjunction, when you have Mars and Ketu in Scorpio, there is the possibility for angry protest and violence. We were already seeing violent, not the protests themselves. Like, what's interesting here in Australia, the protests have been non-violent from the side of the protesters. The protesters have been completely, totally non-violent, but the cops have not. The cops have been violent, and they, they've come into the streets with tanks and with rubber bullets and tear gas, and there's been a lot of injuries. The injuries that have happened to the cops have been, and in one particular instance, the cops had pushed the protesters into a dead end, and they panicked. So they all linked arms and they rushed the cops, and they broke through the line of the cops, and some cops were trampled. But the only reason the cops were injured was because they were actually, pushing these people into a dead end. And that's what's happening. If you see again, if you look at some of these things, you'll see people attacking journalists. And that looks horrible. And by the way, I don't recommend ever doing that to anybody. Those journalists are just doing their jobs. They might be completely hypnotized by what they've been told, but they're just doing their jobs. Their job is just to show up with cameras. Their job is just to show up and do whatever. But you see people screaming and yelling and throwing things at the press, and infuriatingly yelling at them and saying, shame on you, fake news. And if you haven't become aware of the actual fake news, I'm looking at somebody who's trying to park in front of my house, I don't know why. What was I saying? So unless you realize that the news is fake, you will think this is horrible. How can these misinformed, uneducated people, that's what I would have thought. How can these misinformed, uneducated people be so angry at the press? They're just trying to report on the truth, but they're not. They're there to lie to you and to hypnotize you into this false reality. So that's where that comes from, that rage. The rage of not being seen, not being heard, and being gaslit, being lied to. And when you have information that is true, that is helpful, that will save lives, and that information is being suppressed and you're being told the opposite, you're being lied to, it creates a rage within people. And you can't suppress people like that without it creating a pressure. So you're creating a pressure cooker. And at some point that pressure cooker is going to blow. So there is unfortunately a possibility that this might happen. We might see this in the physical world as well. We might see earthquakes. We might see volcanic eruptions. We might see things like that happening as well. But this is what happens when Ketu, Mars, because Scorpio is the depths of the unconscious. So the depths of the unconscious, it would be one thing if you had, like Moon and Venus and Scorpio, right? Those would be those are agents of peace and calm. It would be on a deeper level. Those two planets might not be as calm as they normally be. The sign might kind of stir them up a little bit, make them more passionate. But when you put the sun, which is a giant ball of flame, and you put Mars, which is also fire, and you take Ketu, which is the expansion of Mars, because Mars and Ketu are operating on the same wavelength. When you put them all into the unconscious and you shove them down in the unconscious and they come together, it's going to create an explosion that explodes from deep within. And so this heralds the new beginning. So the good news about all of this is that this creates a new beginning. Ketu is the deity associated with Ketu is Ganesha. Ganesha is a new beginning. In order to have a new beginning, you have to destroy the old. And so what's going to happen here is that there will be a push, a strong experience to destroy the old way of doing things, the lies that have been given to you. And there is an opportunity that there will be explosive revelations of the truth. Many of us know what it is, and it's not a theory, it's not an opinion, it's the actual numbers. It's the actual truth behind that's right in front of your face, that's being suppressed or manipulated or outright, just turned on its head. But you can't hide it. The truth can't be hidden. And there are people, I figured out the truth just by realizing something wasn't right. And I did just a little bit of digging, and then the whole thing just fell apart, and I realized, whoa, the world isn't what I thought it was. But there are people who are fully part of the narrative, and then when things happen tragically to them that shouldn't happen, then experience itself tells them they've been lied to. Unfortunately, they might be they might have suffered severely as a result of that. So for those of you who have received the reptilian anointing, go on my other platform to know what that means. For those of you who have received the reptilian anointing, you need to go watch the video I'm going to upload when I'm done with this one. I'm going to record it and upload it in order to bring yourself back into balance again. All right. So I'll share with you how things that you can do to reverse the effects of the reptilian anointing. All right. So that's the deal. That's what's coming. The awakening. Is this the final awakening, the great awakening? That I don't know. But it has to happen. There's no way around it. And we will be in a position in December when this conjunction happens. It will be the most powerful time for this awakening and revealing of truth that has happened as of yet. What I recommend that you do in order to be able to handle this, I share with you the technology, the spiritual technology that I learned, which you see me doing here. This is what I'm doing here is I'm doing this stuff, which is, in my experience, the most powerful energy practice on the globe. I can't say for a fact that there's something that isn't more powerful or as powerful, but in my experience, I've done yoga, kundalini yoga, shamanism, meditation, qigong. I've done, stuff that's available, stuff that's esoteric. I've never seen anything that comes close to this. And this is literally learning how to fight demons with your bare hands. Your hands become, and your body vibrates on a level that when you walk in the room, if there's any kind of corruption or deception or demons or ghosts, they can't tolerate it and they flee, they run from it. Here you see me doing some various aspects of Qigong, which I teach you here. If you go here to the thunderwizard.com and subscribe for the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, you will be given video instruction on how to release the lightning within your body, which goes beyond Qi, which goes beyond prana, and it is the lightning of the demon destroyer. And again, demons operate by deception. That they use deception and fear in order to control and manipulate you. But if you have an energy that vibrates beyond that, and this, what the original name of this was not Mao Shan. The original name of this was Shang Qing, which meant the highest clarity or the highest purity. And when the cells of your body vibrate at that level, it is much harder to be deceived. And it is much harder for any of that corruption to influence you or touch you. So whether you decide to go and do the whole thing or whether you just go here and subscribe, either way, or you can do the Awakening the Immortals Qigong. That has been, this is on my free channel. You can go look for it. If you go do the Awakening the Immortals Qigong, that will also tap you into that energy so you can become aware. All right, so I'm happy to take any questions. This is a question and answer. I prefer questions. If you have a question, write the word question in all caps and then write your question, or you can share an honest feeling. Everything else is noise to me, and to be honest, if you don't ask an honest question, you're more likely to have me psychoanalyze you in front of the whole world. So if you want to avoid that, stick to just questions and feelings. Okay, what else? That's not a question. Olivia Rackley, question. Do you think it is possible that at least a few of the wealthy overlords are in communication with evil spirits? Olivia, I mean, does it matter how I respond to that question? I mean, I think this is more your feeling or your belief, and you're wanting me to co-sign it for you. The answer is, of course it's possible. But what difference does it make? I don't know why that's so important to you. Here's the thing about evil spirits. So Olivia, I know that you're one of my Maoshan, you're one of my students. So what I recommend that you do is you go onto my YouTube channel and look for the videos about demons and demon possession. Because here's the thing about demons. Demons cannot touch you or influence you without your conscious or unconscious permission. So, the feeling behind your question is that they are influenced by demons, and the point is that demons only intensify your own selfishness within you. That's actually the more powerful thing. The demons aren't the ones doing it. Evil spirits don't do it. Trust me, evil spirits do exist. But your question is designed to sort of dramatize and blow out of proportion that they're in, which it doesn't matter. The most evil people that I've ever experienced were not demon possessed. The most evil energy that I was ever around was a human being who was not demon possessed, but they were very emotionally and psychologically disturbed. So demons don't create it, they just capitalize on it. And the moment that anybody, doesn't matter how possessed they are, if they decide that they want to live the truth and they get honest with themselves, the demons will run. Truth is what destroys demons. So I want to encourage you to start getting out of that victim mentality, which is what I feel in that question, to really find your truth and your power, and not spend any time worrying about that. So the answer to your question is, of course I think it's possible, but whether they are or they aren't is not that important to me. I've looked demons in the face. I've looked them directly in the face, and I can tell you, as frightening as they are, there's nothing that is more frightening to a demon than a human being who wants to know the truth about themselves, wants to know the truth about their own agendas and their own desires. That is the most frightening thing a demon can ever experience, and they will run from that. So again, they're just opportunists. They're not the cause of anything. All right, what else? Vincent.thunderwizard.com says hello, and just to let everybody know, I still have the lockdown package. So you can go to lockdown.thunderwizard.com and you can become you can get what Vincent.thunderwizard.com has, which he has his own website, which is it's on my server, and he is one of my astrologers. So you can go there, or you can go to astrology.thunderwizard.com and get a reading from any one of my astrology apprentices. So go check him out, vincent.thunderwizard.com. Legendary DJ, if you write the word question, it's helpful if you write the word in all caps, because as you know, I avoid anything else. I can't see it if you don't do it in all caps, unless I'm looking for it. So you're lucky that I was looking for it. Otherwise, I would have passed it by. You say, could we say that the elites are a manifestation of mass collective victim mentality that being expressed through totalitarianism via powers that believe they be the mirror? Okay, so it's too much for me. It's too intellectual. I can't understand it. An honest question is that you're asking me something that you don't know. And this is really, you're trying to get me to co-sign your thoughts. You have a thought, a belief about it, and you're asking me if you're right or not. And that's not really a question. Again, it's too intellectual for me to say one way or another. I don't feel like I want to respond to that. And then you go on, could we say that the core of the manifestation of this situation originates in our collective minds and expressed outwardly? So it sounds like that's what you think. So Again, that's not a question. Philip Norwood, okay, that's not a question yet. Olivia Rackley, question. Do you believe it is possible that angels are actually spirits? Okay, so Olivia, welcome to my channel. I know you've been here for a while, but again, do I ever teach this stuff? If I don't teach it, it means that I either don't believe it or I don't have enough info about it. So you're best asking me questions about what I teach. I've never taught anything about the Assyrian gods, and what you're talking about is the Anunnaki. So it actually goes back to the Sumerian texts. So the thing about the Anunnaki is that everything you've heard about the Anunnaki is nonsense. So this was first theorized by Zecharia Sitchin in the 60s and 70s. It was then co-opted by what's his name? David Icke, and he started creating this whole reptilian thing. So that's all made up science fiction fantasy. The Anunnaki are nothing more than the gods of the ancient Mesopotamian people, and it was their it was their mythology. So drop all that nonsense. There's nothing to it. Again, you're best served by asking me questions about stuff I do teach. What else? All right, and I don't see any question here. Lots of people with opinions, which is great, but that's not really my job to legitimize or... let's see. Philip Norwood, question. Isn't Scorpio only visible 7 days of the year? So how long does it... Okay. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what you're talking about. Whether it's visible or not, I don't know. Scorpio is one of the 12 signs, and it lasts, you know, the sun stays in one sign for 30 days at a time. So I don't know what relevance your question has. All right, so, okay, Legendary DJ is going to rephrase. So he's going to try and ask an honest question instead of trying to get me to co-sign his opinion. Let's see. Again, you're not asking me an honest question here, I don't think. Is the collective unconscious a main driving factor for global events? The collective unconscious is exactly what it is. It's the unconscious of everybody. So is it the driving factor for global events, or is an astrological influence? So you're asking me which came first, the chicken or the egg? Does the collective unconscious create the astrological manifestation, or does astrology create the collective unconscious? Again, it's too intellectual. You're overthinking it. I don't know why that matters to you. The collective unconscious is where we all connect. So let's talk about that a little bit. So when I used to, one of the things that I used to love doing, that I needed to do when I was mainly in my 20s, was every year I had to take 2 weeks off, and I went up to the wilderness up in the southern Sierra Nevada mountains, which at that time was, that was just as much wilderness as you could get. In fact, there's Bigfoot up there. I had Bigfoot experiences up there. I had all kinds of crazy experiences. Those mountains have a lot of power in them. There's a lot of energy in those mountains, and when you get up like above, especially above 8,000 feet, you feel this intensity. Your whole body starts to vibrate on a whole other level. And what I would feel as I was driving up the mountainside, after I got to about 4,000, 5,000 feet, I would feel myself go through this this barrier. And when I'd pass through it, I would feel this expansion and this freedom inside of me. And then when I would get back, I would go, 10 or 20 miles back into the forest. The only way to get there would be on horseback or on foot. And you'd have to spend days doing it to get there. So I was about as far away from human society as I could get in that area. And because I was above the bubble, so there was like this bubble of awareness. And when I got up above that bubble in that wilderness, I could then think freely. And it was something that I really needed. And after spending 2 weeks by myself in that environment, I would come back down and I would be a completely different person. Usually by the end of those 2 weeks, I could feel that if I stayed there long enough, I would actually, it felt like anyway, that I would enter another dimension altogether. Anyways, as I'd get back to my car, either by horse or on foot, and I'd get back to my car and I'd start driving down the mountain, and I'd hit that barrier at around 4,000 or 5,000 feet. And then I would immediately feel this weight come on me, and I would feel all of the anger and the fear and the hopelessness, and there would, I'd be driving past all of the farms and the factories, and I would see, that there was actually this bubble of awareness, which you're calling the collective unconscious. And you feel this most strongly in cities. And the reason why people live in cities is to create a bubble of awareness. Because if you go back far enough in time, you'll see that people felt that the wilderness was an evil place. And what happens with indigenous tribes that convert to Christianity, the Christians always want to bring them out of the jungle, and they create these, they start creating these villages and these cities and things like that. And then they become so attached to that, they become afraid to go back into the wilderness. See, that's where the spirits are, that's where the demons are. But what that really means is that people get lulled into a state of complacency when their mental energy and the mental energy of other people combines. And this is what we call the world. So the modern word world is made up of two ancient words, which is were means man, werewolf means man-wolf. So where is one word, and old, where we get the word old from, which means time. So where world, where old means artificial reality. So when your world collapses, people say my whole world collapsed. There's also when people say the world, the world does this and the world is like that. Christian, in Christian slang, you'll say, I'm not of the world. It means I'm not of the human construct, the collective unconscious. So there are places in this world where the where old, the collective unconscious, doesn't have any power. Now, what started happening is that because of climate shift, I was no longer able to escape that bubble. That bubble started expanding to the point where no matter where I went in the wilderness, I could feel the effects of that bubble. There wasn't any safe place to go to get away from it anymore. And that was very traumatic for me. So to get back to your question, is the collective unconscious a main driving factor for global events? So again, the obvious answer is yes. You're trying to get me to co-sign your feeling about this. So Um, the obvious answer is yes. Philip Norwood, I'm not interested in arguing with you. I don't know what that's all about. You know, I didn't like your question. I didn't like the way it was phrased. I didn't think there was any point in it. You know, so take it for what it is. You're being disrespectful to me, and now I'm looking at this. So I'm done with you, my friend. You asked me a question. I gave you my honest answer. And if you don't like my channel, go somewhere else. So just because you're incapable of at least, you know, coming into my house and being respectful of how I like to do things in my house, I'm kicking you out. So you can come and watch the channel, but you can't comment anymore. And it's just, you know, it's just manners. You know, if somebody comes in and shits on your, you know, your living room floor, are you going to want them back in your house? I'm sorry that you needed to take a shit, but you don't have to take a shit on my carpet. AA32 something question. Can you do a video on your Bigfoot experiences? Thank you. Welcome to the channel. I already have. So everybody who's watching this, I have over 1,000 videos. Learn how to search within my channel. So if you don't know how to do that, on a laptop, I would go to the YouTube page, you know, somebody's YouTube page. Mine is thunderwizard.com, thunderwizard, D-O-T-C-O-M. And you would go to that, and then there's going to be a menu where you can click on and search, and you can put keywords of any kind. You can put Bigfoot, and you can see all of the videos on my channel about Bigfoot. If you want to search for demons, you can type in demons or exorcism. You can type in chakras. You can type in qigong. You can type in whatever search word you want to see if I've made a video on it. So I've already made a video, numerous videos on it. So please go enjoy those. Olivia Rackley question. All right, so Olivia, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing that I told the other guy, which is search my channel. You're asking me questions I've already answered. It's okay that you haven't heard the video yet or know the answer, but you know, what I like for people to do in general, if you want to be my student, what I really like is I want you to do what I've done, which is when I want to learn something, I research the crap out of it. I will look for it everywhere. I will search for it everywhere. So when I go onto somebody's YouTube channel, I do exactly what I just told you to do. I want to know what's on their channel. I don't try and ask them I go and I search. So I'll go and search in their channel for whatever it is that I want to learn to see if they've already talked about it. So I've already talked about it, Olivia, and I tell you exactly what I think Bigfoot is and all of that. So I'm not going to take the time to do that here, but I am happy to direct you to those videos. All right, so I don't see any more questions here. I'll give you guys some more time while I wrap things up. So go on to my other platform, which is odyssey.com, and there I can talk without having to censor myself. And go on there in, you know, whenever I get off here, if there aren't any more questions, it'll probably take me a half an hour. I'm going to make another video and I'm going to upload it directly to that site. And I'm going to tell you information that you need to know. If you have not been given the reptilian anointing, I'm going to tell you information that you need to know. I'm going to tell you about what the reptilian anointing is meant to do and what it's meant to do over time, which my feeling is, and I don't have anything other than a feeling at this point, but my feeling is that the elites will be stopped before they can really roll out the full plan that they have. And I'll explain to you what their plan is. For those of you who have been either partially or fully anointed by the reptilian anointing, I'm going to first off tell you what you need to know in order to do what you can to reverse the anointing and to protect yourself, because what you've been told is the opposite of the truth here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you to do the opposite of what you think or what you originally thought you never had to do again, about having to protect yourself. So that's the good news. My belief is, my feeling is that the the reptilian agenda, that the reptilian horde are going to be stopped. I believe that it will be made clear. It is my hope. I'm not making a prediction. It feels this way. It's obviously my emotional agenda that I hope this is the case. But I believe what's going to happen is that the truth is going to be revealed undeniably. The people behind this deception and this program to control and reduce the population, I think, will be revealed, and there will be even, I mean, unbelievable anger. You know, when people become aware of the level of deception and destruction that has been that they bought into, I think we're going to see massive outpourings. Now, I don't know that to be true. That is my belief, it's my feeling, and it's my hope. All right, so that's it for me. No other questions came up since I was giving up the last thing. So go check out the other links, and I will see you guys when I see you. Take care, and yeah, I'll tell you on the next video how to prepare for this upcoming conjunction that's coming. All right? All right, see you guys later.